What's good, Gacha gang? Kawaii50 here with another FGO video, here to talk about one of the most anticipated freebie servants in the game's history, Jeanne d'Arc Alter in her swimsuit Berserker class. God, I know some people that just went all in getting her the second the event started. Congratulations to all of you. Before we get into the analysis, as always, if this video helps you out, be sure to like, maybe subscribe if you're new to the channel. And we've also got a Discord to talk about games and FGO in particular, as well as a Patreon in the description below. Alright, let's get started. So starting off, this incarnation of Jalter is already sporting one of the most perfect card setups for a Berserker. Quick Arts Buster, of course with a Buster Noble Phantasm. Merlin is going to be all over helping this girl out. As far as stats go, her HP is really her weakest point, maxing out 9,922 at max level. Combined with her Berserker class, Jalter is actually made of wet paper. Any targeted attack towards her is just going to instantly destroy her, and you're really going to need to work around that if you want to use her to her full effectiveness. But HP isn't really the biggest deal when it comes to being a Berserker, and what matters most is attack, and Jalter's attack is very, very good, capping out at 10,298. As far as her other stats go, NP gain as well as star absorption, neither of those are super great. Her NP per hit is okay at 0.52%. Her NP gain when attacked is really good at 5%, but her low HP means she's probably going to die if she gets attacked. And as usual with Berserkers, her star absorption is so low that star gather rate craft essences are absolutely useless on her, so do not give her those under any circumstances. Now, Jalter only has one passive skill, but it is a skill that makes her a very effective Berserker. Madness Enhancement EX increases her Buster performance by 12%, affecting both her regular attacks as well as her Noble Phantasm. Really not much more I can say about that. Summer Jalter's first skill is Schwarzwald Falk, rank B. This grants her self-evasion for one attack, one turn, every turn for 3 turns, and also increases her NP generation rate by 20 to 30%. Now, even though that NP generation rate is something Jalter really wants badly, the big reason you are going to end up using this skill is for that evasion, so you can keep Jalter alive and on the field. If you are very lucky and Jalter only gets hit once on each turn, then for 3 turns, she's just going to be able to take no damage, and that is absolutely fantastic. Now, even though the cooldown gets reduced to 6 turns upon getting fully leveled up, you're gonna want to level this up last because you really want to focus on upping Jalter's damage as much as possible. And her other 2 skills are what helps with just that. Jalter's second skill is Fallen Witch, rank A+. This is going to increase her own attack by 10 to 20% for 3 turns, and also grant her attacks an additional effect to grant Burn on the enemy for 500 damage. Now, of course, Burn is one of those status effects that stacks, so you're going to end up dealing significant damage over time when using this skill and being able to have Jalter attack every single turn. Now, you're going to want to max this out first, solely because of that attack boost. A 20% attack boost is really substantial. That's better than the max limit broken, oft-loved Golden Sumo craft essence. So this skill is very potent, especially with Berserker class affinity. And Jalter's final skill, which I am inevitably going to butcher, is Muers au tout droit, rank EX. This increases her Buster performance by 10 to 20% for 1 turn, and also has a 20% NP steroid charge to it at the cost of 1,000 of her HP. Now, I really wish this skill's NP gauge charge ended up going up as you leveled it up, but unfortunately that is just not the case. The only thing that increases with it is the Buster performance. And with that being only 1 turn, you're going to want to use this right before you use Jalter's Noble Phantasm at all times. Now, just for the sole reason that this doesn't last as long as her second skill when it comes to increasing overall damage, we are going to max this skill second. Now, Jalter's Noble Phantasm, everyone, I'm not going to mince words here. It is incredible. It is the main reason you are going to use her. It is what we are going to want to sink all of our resources into whenever possible. Volkermord Fuerdrake is a Noble Phantasm that deals damage to one enemy at 600 to 1000%. And let's be real, it's going to be 1000% because you are going to max out Jalter's Noble Phantasm because she's free. And on Overcharge, this also has a bonus effect of inflicting burn to the enemy target for 3000 to 5000 damage depending on the level of Overcharge. When you sink all of your skills into powering up this Noble Phantasm, when you have your allies helping you, your Merlins, your Helenas, whatever, it is not uncommon, gang, for this Noble Phantasm to deal over 100,000 damage every single time you use it. It's so powerful, it's so potent, that this is the main reason you want to use Jalter. And we're going to focus on that when it comes to recommending other servants, recommending craft essences, as well as recommending command codes. Now let's dive into that. So for allies, of course, you want your standard caster buster supporters. That is a no-brainer. But say maybe you don't have your own Merlin, you can only borrow a friend's, and you need somebody else to fill that slot. I've got two other recommendations for you to pair Jalter with to end up making her even more potent. Now, both of these characters I'm about to mention are riders, so they have very high star absorption, but it doesn't really matter. Jalter's star absorption is so pitiful anyways that you're really only going to be able to get her to guaranteed crit by generating 50 stars in a single turn. It is just that bad. Anyways, let's start out with a freebie option, and that is Bartholomew Roberts. Now, the main reason we are mentioning Bartholomew Roberts is because of his first skill, Voyager of the Storm, rank A+. This is sort of a freebie version of Francis Drake's skill, which I guess you could also use her, but she's not freebie, so let's just talk about Roberts and this next person. Roberts increases the NP damage of all allies by 8.5 to 17%, while also increasing their attack by 8.5 to 17%, and this is on a pretty good 5-turn cooldown. Now, on the off chance you're able to generate all of those stars that Jalter needs, you can also use his Pirate Gentleman skill to increase the critical strength of all allies for 3 turns while decreasing his own critical star rate. So that is just absolutely awesome. And you also have a chance to generate extra stars for your team with his third skill, Gale's Plunder. In addition to increasing quick effectiveness and decreasing enemy critical rate, this also grants a very respectable 10 to 20 critical stars. Since he's low rarity, his skills are going to be easy to level, and you're overall going to have an effective low rarity supporter for Jeanne d'Arc. And for our max rarity servant, I've definitely got to recommend Leonardo da Vinci Rider. Not only is Da Vinci Rider going to have an ability with her Dream of the Stars skill to increase the NP damage of all allies by 20 to 30%, she's also going to use that skill to increase everyone's NP gauge by 10%, as well as increase the overcharge level for all those allies by 1 stage for 1 turn. So you pop this skill on a turn you're sure Jalter is able to use her Noble Phantasm, she's going to pull out that additional burn damage from that overcharge level increase, and her Noble Phantasm's going to deal extra damage on top of that. Pretty much a win-win. Now, as for our craft essences, everyone, I've got 2 sets of recommendations to make for you. Now, this first set is focused upon granting a starting NP steroid to Jalter because her NP gain isn't that great, while also granting her a solid bit of attack boost in the form of either attack up, Buster Card effectiveness, or NP strength up. All of these 3 statistics are very good on Berserker Jalter. So we've got Aerial Drive, Golden Sumo, as well as Partake with the King. Aerial Drive, I gotta say, would be your best bet out of this. If you max limit broke this during the event, you get a starting 50% NP gauge, 10% NP strength, and 10% Buster Card effectiveness. And that Buster Card effectiveness and NP strength really gonna help Jalter's Noble Phantasm. Golden Sumo is, of course, just a standard be-all, end-all when it comes to any attacking servant, good on absolutely anybody. And Partake with the King, while not granting that NP strength that Aerial Drive grants, is going to grant Buster Card effectiveness, and if you've max limit broken this, a 60% starting NP gauge instead of just 40. Now on the other hand, if you are very confident about your ability to charge Jalter's Noble Phantasm gauge to 100%, then you're going to want to go all in on that NP damage to get the most damage out of Jalter possible. So of course for that, we've got our Heaven's Feel as well as our Black Grail. Black Grail, of course, being incredibly potent at max limit break, increasing NP strength by 80% at the cost of 500 HP per turn. But if you either don't have that, or if that demerit is just a little too scary for you, you can go with Heaven's Feel, which when limit broken grants an NP damage boost by 50%. Not as good as a not max limit broken Black Grail, but it's still going to provide that substantial damage boost for you. Now for our command codes, I've got 3 recommendations here, unfortunately all 5 stars, but that's just the way it turned out when I was doing my research. Our first command code here is designed about helping Jalter deal the extra NP damage, and it's of course one I've mentioned a ton, Da Vinci Chan. Da Vinci Chan granting NP damage up by 15% for 1 turn when attacking using the engraved card. So use the engraved card before you use Jalter's Noble Phantasm, and you are going to get a ton of extra damage out of that. As potent as, say, that Bart's Roberts skill I mentioned in the previous characters. Pretty nice. Of course, when it comes to helping with Jalter's NP gain, we are going to use Magus of Flowers. Once every 3 turns, this will charge Jalter's NP gauge by 10% when attacking using the engraved card. Getting that extra NP charge is really going to help Jalter get back to her Noble Phantasm faster, especially if you're able to keep her alive when it comes to that low HP pool. And finally, when it comes to keeping Jalter alive, I've got to recommend Good Wife Wise Fox, featuring, of course, Best Girl from Fate Extra, Tamamo no Mai. Now, Good Wife Wise Fox grants self-healing received up by 50% 1 time over the course of 2 turns when attacking with that engraved card. So say you're trying to heal Jalter and keep her alive after a significant barrage where she's managed to survive, you can use, of course, your Medea Lily, you can use your Merlin's Noble Phantasm, tons of ways out there to heal up Jalter, and she's going to get even more healing when she's used this card to gain that extra effect. Just pretty much a little extra way to help keep Jalter alive to get to extra opportunities to use her Noble Phantasm. Overall, when it comes to Berserker Jeanne d'Arc, I really got to consider her the second coming of Sakata Kintoki. If you've been playing the game for a long time, you kind of know that the way Jalter is designed is sort of the exact same way Sakata Kintoki is designed. You really want to put all of your possible damage into their Noble Phantasm. Those 3 Buster cards can deal some significant damage if you sync Buster effectiveness up into these characters, and they are also glass cannons that are completely designed around dealing damage with that Noble Phantasm, who may likely end up dying off a little bit after that. But this 4-star Berserker does have an evade, whereas Kintoki has absolutely no survivability whatsoever, so I'm sure a lot of players out there will definitely make the argument that Jeanne d'Arc Berserker is a better version of Sakata Kintoki. Regardless of your personal feelings on them, know that Jalter Berserker is going to be really powerful when it comes to fighting specific challenge quests and dealing massive amounts of damage, in the same way that Kintoki has done for years and years here on FGO. But of course, I want to know your thoughts on Berserker Jalter, so go ahead and let me know how you feel about her down in the comment section below. Let me know if you are specifically farming the Summer 3 event because you need Berserker Jalter on your team. And if you've got any other teammates for her that I didn't mention, be sure to let me know about them in the comments below as well. Again, this is Kawaii50, hoping you have a phenomenal day, hoping you maybe consider checking out the Discord or the Patreon, and I'll see y'all in the next video.